Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a tier list on all these Cold War countries. Uh, so let's start. Uh, I'm gonna rank them on the basis on how good they are to play, and how fun they are, and how fun and strong they are is the only thing that matters here. Sometimes a weaker country can be in a higher position than a stronger country just because it's more fun. So let's begin. Argentina. I think Argentina is a good nation, um, in South America, but the thing is, it doesn't really have that much army. It starts off with five cities, and its army. I think it has 12 units. Uh, it's not really much. It can be fun. I have seen Argentina capture a lot of South America. If Brazil goes inactive, Argentina has a high chance of capturing South America and maybe, just maybe, win the game. I'll go with Argentina in the D tier. It's a good country to play as, but I think it can be really hard sometimes. And it's also isolated from Europe, and that's not good. Australia. Australia is not a bad nation. It has eight cities. It does have eight cities and some decent army. I think Australia is a good nation to play as, but the thing is, it's not that fun, and you're actually isolated. Uh, you're basically an island in the south, and you're not even near that many countries. You can say Netherlands is near you, but Netherlands generally goes inactive. Generally, if you manage to capture Netherlands, the game might be a bit more fun, but if Netherlands actually attacks you for that, you can actually lose. It is fun, but you're pretty much isolated. For that reason, I'll say Australia is in the C tier. Brazil. Brazil is a great nation. You start off with more than 30 units, and you have 13 cities, which is pretty nice. A decent nation. But the problem is, like these two countries, it's actually isolated from the main area. However, the win rate for Brazil is pretty high because you're not really near any major nations which can easily attack you, so you can actually invade a lot of South America, maybe ally with the US and split the Americas with them, and you might have a high chance of winning. It's actually a pretty fun nation to play as. I'd say I'm gonna give Brazil a B tier. Actually, let me just change that. I'm just gonna put it in a C tier. British India. British India is actually quite fun, and its army is not that big, but its tech is quite good. It's actually a pretty good nation to role play as or play as. It can be also good because you can attack uh some AI countries near you, maybe Persia. You can probably try to invade China, which is not good. Probably will not work out. We started with eight cities, I believe, and yeah, it's a pretty good nation. However, I think it's better than Brazil because it's more fun, but it's not that strong, and you have a high chance of Japan or China invading you. However, I never really seen that happen. So yeah, India is pretty fun. Canada is pretty good too, but it's unlike India. The problem is it's quite isolated. You can only attack the USA, and team up with Mexico to invade the US. But you're pretty much cornered by US. US generally attacks Canada. If you're in a role play game, you're kind of lucky. You can probably attack Europe, but it's not that fun to be honest. I'm going to say it's better than Australia because it has more cities than Australia. But actually, let me just say it's actually under Australia because it's probably gonna get invaded pretty easily. France is a very good nation compared to these five. It has 250 stars, 25 cities. I'm not sure if that's the one, but I think it does have that much. a pretty good nation to be honest. Uh, you have a lot of opportunity to win the game too, but and you have a lot of army. You have 100 units, but the problem is Germany. It's pretty common for Germany to invade France. I have seen some times where Germany actually attacks France before it attacks Poland. If you're an RP game, you might ally with the if you might ally with the UK to team up against Germany. And UK generally they actually agree if they're like an active player, but you don't really stand much of a chance against Germany unless Germany goes inactive or Germany is not that good at the game, so you can team up with the UK to defeat Germany. You also have to mind of Italy. It's possible Italy can attack you with Germany. I'd say it's gonna go to the B tier, but it's pretty difficult to play sometimes regarding on how Germany and Italy react. Germany. Germany is one of my favorite nations, if not my favorite to play as. It's pretty fun. You started with 12 cities. You have a really strong army. I'm not sure if it's stronger than the UK, but your land army is definitely the strongest in the world. You can invade Poland, France, Italy if you wish to, Soviet Union, UK. You can actually invade all of Europe, and you have a really high chance of winning. It's very fun to play as. Uh, I'm gonna say it's in S tier. It's one of the best nations, if not the best to play as in a historical war. Italy is pretty fun too. If you can ally with Germany, it's actually gonna be very fun. You can you can team up with Germany to invade France. You can invade Yugoslavia. You have a really high opportunity to win if Germany is like a role player guy who wants to ally with the real Axis powers. You can actually win. You started with 13 cities and a decent army actually. It has 60 units or more. I'm gonna say it's better than France. Okay. It's not allowing me to go there, but it's better than France. Um, but if Germany decides to invade you, that could be a trouble. However, most likely they will actually team up with you, so it's actually gonna be a good nation. Japan, I think Japan is a very good nation. It starts off with 18 cities, a decent army, at least relatively, and it's actually pretty fun. I think the only problem Japan has is actually China, but I think China can be easily dealt with if attacked in day one or day two. The other problem is Japan has a short economy to build up its army. But I think if you invade China as Japan, you'll get a decent economy and you can build industries and you'll probably have a decent economy and you can actually invade Asia. You're the only country which only major nation in Asia. You can Soviet Union is in Asia a bit, but it's Siberia and they barely have troops. UK, US and France have some stuff in Asia, but they don't really have that many units. Maybe USA can be a problem, but unless you're in a World War II role playing, US won't really attack you. I'd say Japan is in the A tier, pretty fun nation. Not my favorite, but definitely one of my favorite. Mexico is a good nation too. It has 6 cities, a okay economy, and the army is quite small. You can actually invade the Central Americas and probably reach South America, but the high chances US will invade you. Unless you team up with Canada to invade US, you're pretty much screwed up because US will invade you eventually. If you're in a World War II RP, I don't know really. I'd say Mexico is in the D tier. It's not as good as Argentina to be honest, but okay. Mongolia is actually not a good nation to be honest. It's actually landlocked. The only opportunity you have is probably to side with the Soviets or the Chinese and then invade Manchukuo, Xinjiang, but it's quite boring. I actually tried to play Mongolia once and I actually went inactive because it was just so boring. I'd say F tier suits Mongolia. Nationalist China is a pretty good nation. You have a decent economy, about 20 Wait, no, not 27. About 15 cities, which is a lot. Everything about China is actually good, but the problem is your geography will actually allow Japan to attack you. If they attack you in day one or day two, you're almost gonna lose. There's an 18, like 90% chance you lose. You can win by spamming militia, but it won't work always. But you can actually try that. But I'd say China is a pretty good nation. I'm actually gonna say it's better than Brazil. In our opinion, it's quite fun, actually. It's better than British India. But the only problem is Japan can invade you. Netherlands is quite boring. Its economy is so bad because it has 10 cities and its army is decent, but its economy is the major problem because it's pretty common for Germany to invade Netherlands in Europe. Very common. So I don't think that actually counts. So most of you, if not most, or all of your cities are actually non-core. Amsterdam is the only city which is actually core, but Germany is going to invade you in Europe. There's a 90% chance. So the economy sucks. Everything else is quite decent. I'd say it's better than Argentina, but it's not that good. Persia is pretty fun. Depending on how the game turns out, you can actually either be really strong or you can actually be quite weak. If Turkey decides to invade you or Soviet does the same, you're gonna lose. But if you manage to make an alliance with them, you can actually maybe win. I'd say it's better than Argentina and Mexico, but not as good as Netherlands. Peru, that's not a good nation. It only has 5 cities and you have a high chance of getting invaded by Brazil, and it's almost like Argentina, but a bit bad than that because there's a high chance it's actually very boring. I'd say Peru is good, but not as good as Argentina, but better than Mexico. I don't think I really need to talk about Poland. If you manage to make alliance with Germany or Soviets, it's actually a pretty good nation because you have 30 or more units. That's a decent. You got a very decent army for how many cities you have. You can even maybe win the game, but you won't because Germany is going to invade you. It's pretty common in almost all the games I joined. 90% of the time, Germany will invade Poland. And even if Germany doesn't attack you, it's very possible Soviet Union will attack you. But sometimes I've seen a time where Soviet Union allies with Poland to invade Germany, but I don't think even if Poland and Soviet Union team up, Germany can actually defeat pretty easily. So the only way Poland can actually maybe have a chance is if Germany goes inactive, and so does the Soviets, or both of them actually decide to ally with Poland, which is very rare. I'm gonna say Poland is actually better than Mongolia because it has a better army, but it's quite bad. You can actually lose pretty easily. I'm actually gonna say it's worse than Mongolia. Soviet Union, it's actually a good nation. You actually have the largest economy. You have 24 cities, which is a lot, and you have a high chance of winning. The only problem with Soviet Union, as far as I know, is that all of its troops, I think all of its units, are in level 1, and you have to upgrade them, otherwise you won't really stand a chance. I'd say Soviet Union, I'm actually gonna put it in the S tier, but I'm sure it's not as good as Germany. Romania, it's not a bad nation. I actually say it's pretty fun. But the thing is, Soviet Union might invade you, but you have a decent opportunity. You can invade Bulgaria, maybe ally with Turkey and Soviet Union, maybe dominate the Balkans. I'd say it's better than Netherlands. Actually, I'm gonna put it in the C tier. It's actually a pretty decent nation. I actually like Romania. South Africa. South Africa is not a really bad nation to be honest, but it gets quite boring. You have a chance to win because you can invade a lot of stuff in Africa, but it's not a good nation. It gets pretty boring soon because you're isolated from most of the world. And UK and France don't really care about their colonies much, so you basically don't really stand a chance to actually have fun. You can win, but it's not gonna be that fun. I'd say it's gonna be in the E tier. Sweden, it depends on how good you're at playing. As Sweden, if you manage to make a lot of people your ally, maybe invade the Nordics, you can actually have a fun experience. I'd say Sweden is better than South Africa, but it's not as good as the others. I actually say I'm gonna put Sweden over here. Okay. Tibet sucks. It's landlocked. It has a very small army. It's actually worse than Mongolia and maybe even Poland. That's why I've seen Tibet being the neutral admin because it's like the most useless nation. I'm gonna say Tibet is gonna be here. Okay, we only got six more countries. Turkey. Turkey is one of my favorite nations to role play as or even play as. You can try to recreate the Ottoman Empire allied with the Soviets and Germany. I actually had the experience one time where I played as Turkey allied with the Soviet Union and Germany and actually won the game with them. It's a quite fun experience. I'd say though Turkey is a very good nation to play as. It's not good at units. It doesn't have that many units. It only has 7 cities, but it's really fun to play as. I'd say Turkey is better than India, but not as good as China in this game. The UK. The UK is a very good nation, believe it or not, in the game. You can actually win the game. But the only problem I think UK has is its land army is quite small and you have to build up the army. Its economy is not so good for how much it has. It has 28 cities, which is a lot. I'd say it's better than Italy or France, but not as good as Japan. It's not that fun, but it's actually good. US is not so fun, but everything else is quite good. But you can actually you can build up your land army and probably be really good because your economy is good. But it's quite boring because you don't have any major powers near you unless you manage to participate in stuff that's happening in Europe, which I think US will do sometimes. It's actually gonna be pretty fun. But if you don't do that, it's not that fun. I'd say US is better than France, but it's not as good as Italy. Venezuela, what can I say? Venezuela is a good nation, actually it is, but it's actually quite boring, to be honest. It's almost the same case as Peru or Argentina, but it's a bit more worse than Mexico, I guess. You don't really have a chance of winning, so I'm gonna say Venezuela's here. Xinjiang, it's not that fun. You are surrounded by Soviet and um yeah, China. You can probably invade Mongolia and have a chance, but I don't think that works out. Xinjiang, it will actually lose pretty fast, and you'll probably have to go inactive at some point because it's going to be so boring to play Xinjiang. I'll say it's worse than actually, yeah, it's actually. I'm gonna put it here. It's pretty boring, but better than Tibet. Manchukuo, a lot of people actually will probably put in Manchukuo in F tier, but I'm actually gonna say Manchukuo is a good nation to play as, at least in a roleplay case. You can probably ally with Japan. Most of the time, Japan does accept you as their ally. You can help Japan invade China. You have a pretty decent chance of winning, believe it or not. You won't win, but it's actually gonna be a bit fun. I'd say it's better than South Africa. Actually, I know it actually sounds odd, but Manchukuo is a good nation. It's not that bad. Uh, yeah, actually, that's okay. So this is my tier list. I hope this is how it works for you. If it's not, that's okay. This is my opinion. Uh, on all the countries for Call of War. Um, so yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. I'm making a Call of War World War One and World War Two RP videos soon. They're gonna come probably in the next month. Because Cause just actually we just started the game, and I don't think I'll do that right now. Cause the role players there might actually see my troops. So see you all in the next video. Bye for today.